Hi, and welcome back for another daily dose of anime recaps. In this episode, we'll be covering the first 5 episodes of the anime The Way of the Househusband. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. This is the story of a moral-oriented but feared and legendary Yakuza, who goes by the underworld name the Immortal Dragon. Not only does he inspire fear in other gangs, but the police as well. However, one day he mysteriously disappears without a trace, and when, after several years, he finally shows up, he is nothing less than a model househusband. Before we begin, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from us. Tatsu, a former Yakuza monster commonly known as Immortal Dragon, is now a successful househusband. He does every home chore diligently and keeps his Yakuza vibe alive. Like one morning, he wakes up, skillfully makes breakfast, and packs his wife's lunch, who is a working woman. His wife forgets to take her lunch, which leads him to rush after her on his bike. On his way, he is stopped by 2 cops who think he is a criminal because of his Yakuza looks. When he tells the cops that he is a stay-at-home househusband, one of the cops thinks that he is the same person who single-handedly defeated all the members of a rival gang without any weapon. Tatsu quickly gives the cops a sales ticket and takes his leave. The other day, a cocky salesman appears at Tatsu's apartment. Tatsu doesn't want him to enter, but the salesman doesn't let him close the door anyway. The salesman, who is boasting with his sales tone, suddenly stuns when he sees Tatsu in a bloody apron with a knife in his hand. Tatsu's Yakuza vibe soon catches the man as he falls in fear. However, he manages to show Tatsu a set of knives he wants to sell. Tatsu first wants to try the knives to see if they work. He then cooks a hamburger steak for the man, who forgets all of his sales pitches and enjoys the taste of Tatsu's cooked food. Somewhere, a boy named Masa is thrown out of a shop and thinks that the shop is under a rival gang control. It turns out that Masa used to be Tatsu's underling and wishes him to return to the gang. Suddenly, he sees Tatsu picking some vegetables from a shop and asks him why he left the Yakuza. Tatsu takes him to a place to get cooking lessons, but there Masa sees Tatsu completely out of character and learning everything with a cool mind. This makes Masa mad as he throws away his apron and yells at Tatsu to come back to Yakuza. Tatsu reveals to Masa that he has left the gang for good and is a househusband now. He tells him that he is protecting his things in his own way. He then offers him his cooked food, but Masa throws it away. The next moment, Masa is thrown away by Tatsu. He beats him and makes him clean the mess. The next day, Tatsu has something he thinks is worth targeting and is running toward the market on his bicycle. A man from a different gang is traveling in a car and talks about how many people want Tatsu dead. Suddenly, Tatsu busts into his car in order to save a cat. He bumps headfirst into the window of the car and comes face to face with the person in a weird way. The man remembers Tatsu as the Immortal Dragon and drags his driver to catch him. Tatsu enters a market and the men see him flooding towards a shop offering a 90% off sale on some clothes. As a large crowd of customers gathers around him to shop in no time, Tatsu makes the men help him get the stuff he wanted. He then yells at the men for not picking the right things and tells them that being a househusband is not a joke. The sound of the Immortal Dragon transforming into a househusband makes the man angry, who brings out his gun. But the next moment, he has warm gloves in his hand instead of a gun. The gloves make him remember the hard days of his past life, bringing a change to him in a special way. Tatsu goes to an anime land store and buys his wife Miku's favorite Polycure figurine. Miku comes home tired after work and suddenly sees Tatsu has arranged the whole house for her birthday. He wishes her in his special Yakuza tone. They eat a special dinner together and Tatsu offers her a present from the Polycure. The Polycure makes her very happy, but she tells him that she already has one. Suddenly, Tatsu is ready to cut his fingers off, but is saved when Miku throws him outside a window by hitting him with her clothesline. Tatsu receives a call from his landlord lady who tells him that the town chairperson of the Women's Association is coming to visit him. He keenly observes a new automatic robot that cleans the room. Suddenly, he finds out that the robot cannot reach the corners. Tatsu yells at it and then cleans the corner of the room himself and talks trash to the robot by calling it an amateur. As things are going smoothly for Tatsu, his cat causes a mess when its tail is accidentally caught in by the robot. When the chairperson and the landlord lady show up at Tatsu's apartment, they see him covered in a red liquid which they mistake as blood and are freaked out. On another occasion, a woman from the neighborhood asks Tatsu to watch over her child Ryota. While she has to go to a sudden PTA job, Ryota is soon scared of Tatsu's looks and tries to leave, but Tatsu stops him and bakes some delicious cookies for him. As Ryota feels comfortable around him, he picks Miko's polycure and accidentally breaks it. However, Tatsu is actually soft on the kid and tells him not to worry. He buries the polycure in the ground when suddenly Miku arrives, who shows him glue to use instead. Masa bumps into some thugs and tries to Google out of the situation. However, the thugs aren't patient enough. Luckily, Tatsu is passing by with some tools in his hand for a DIY project. When Masa sees him, he starts bragging about the thugs, but Tatsu slaps him and tells him to solve his own problems. The thugs recognize that Tatsu is Immortal Dragon and decide to leave. But Masa once again taunts him, which leads them to come back and injure Tatsu's head with a wood log. Tatsu is not fazed whatsoever, and then the next attack is a knife which Tatsu blocks with his book. The thugs then run away before Tatsu gets mad at them. Masa suddenly realizes something and thinks that the way of the house husband could be the way of the Yakuza. He asks Tatsu to train him, and Tatsu takes him to his apartment where they build a chair with the DIY tools. The next day, Tatsu thinks that his face is getting sagged, so he starts exercising in the room. It bothers Miku, who asks him to go to a place to take free trial yoga classes. The trainer asks everyone the name of a pose, and Tatsu starts giving every pose a weird name in his gangster language. After the class, he talks to two ladies who know him from the neighborhood and accidentally walks into the women's locker room. When he realizes he has stepped inside the woman's locker room, he runs outside and punishes himself while telling the ladies that they should tie him up and throw him into the deepest part of the ocean. Later, he goes shopping with Miku and asks a worker lady for white powder. The lady freaks out, thinking Tatsu is asking for drugs and says they don't sell them. However, Miku explains to her that it is the flour he is asking for. After that, Miku tries to get a few things for fun, but Tatsu doesn't allow her. Miku argues with him and two women standing at a distance, thinking that a Yakuza is harassing people. Miku takes Tatsu away from the public and tells him that people are afraid of him. She tries different dresses on him, thinking his dress could be the reason people are scared, but then he looks scary in every outfit. Miku gets mad and asks him to be charming as he is her husband. Tatsu then ends up wearing a pink-colored apron with polycure prints on it, which makes Miku really happy, and the people around them think of them as weebs. On another occasion, Tatsu is teaching Masa his way as a house husband in the market, when they accidentally discover Tatsu's strongest rival named Torahiro, the steel-wrist tiger, selling ice cream parfaits. Torahiro instantly injures Tatsu's face with a utensil and complains about him killing all of his gang members. Soon they both get into an argument and decide to settle things with their insane cooking skills. They post their servings on social media to see who is the winner. However, no one gets any response except for the one like Tatsu gets, declaring him the winner in an awkward way. At the car showroom, Tatsu and Miku look at all the different models, but Tatsu doesn't like any of them and instead chooses a cargo van. However, Miku says no to the cargo, and they find another car, which they both agree on, that will suit their needs. When they are offered a test drive, Tatsu checks the car thoroughly and wonders if it has bulletproof doors. He suggests Miku visit some stores while they are driving the car, but the showroom lady forbids him to do that. Miku says to him, just follow the rules and drive defensively. Tatsu has his own interpretation of the word defensively and thinks of everyone in front of him as an assassin and ends up saying to Miku that he quits driving the vehicles. Later, Tatsu and Masa go to Masa's room. That is the definition of dirty and unsorted through and through. Tatsu slaps Masa and then does his hard to clean laundry, which is another lesson worth learning for Masa to learn the way of the house husband. Tatsu sets up some of his gadgets to sell on an open market, but suddenly some people from a gang show up there and start threatening a guy. Tatsu stands before them and makes the gang's boss shake his legs out of fear. Tatsu remains pure to the business and offers them different gadgets to buy that are misinterpreted by the gang boss. He begs for Tatsu's mercy while Tatsu hands him the gadgets anyway. Tatsu waters some useful plants on the balcony, and 2 cops spy on him. He takes some leaves and goes somewhere on his bicycle. The cops think that he's going to do some illegal activity. The cops watching him give Masa a white pack, which the cops think is some drug. Cops keep following Tatsu and Masa and see them enter a closed cafe. They're sure that they're about to find some illegal activity going on inside the cafe, but they find Tatsu and others celebrating a lady chairperson's birthday inside. The young cop asks Masa to show off the white packet, which he does, and it turns out to be some sort of herb. The other cop then suspects that Tatsu has something hidden inside his suitcase, but it also turns out to be a harmless gift for the lady chairperson. The gang boss from the open market is determined to take his revenge against Tatsu and does severe training aided by bone enrichment supplements. However, he falls to the ground again as he watches Tatsu walk towards him. Tatsu helps a volleyball team fill in for short members. During the practice, a girl's service hits his mouth, which blows his nose. Soon another team appears there for a practice match, and they happen to be a gang. The match begins and the other team ends up winning the game. Tatsu calls him responsible for the loss, but the opposing team's boss stretches his hand towards him, making him feel easy. Tatsu and Miku are shopping in the market when Tatsu gathers some weird stamps to win a lottery. He tells Miku that it is his 10th try to win a vacuum cleaner for their home. He heroically gives the old lottery runner his stamps and rolls the lottery ball in hopes of getting his hands on the vacuum cleaner, but instead he gets a stuffed animal, which makes Miku happy. The old lottery runner laughs at Tatsu, saying he won, but Tatsu says his real win is when his wife smiles, but Miku has some other opinion on the matter. The next day, Miku's parents visit the house and Tatsu serves them tea and some food which Miku's mother likes and praises. Miku's father, who is silent until now, thinks he should start the conversation with Tatsu. He tries to talk to Tatsu about animals and singing, which Tatsu happens to have no good memories of. The father-in-law then suggests Tatsu play catch with him, and they both go outside to play. Tatsu plays with his father-in-law like an obedient dog. And when his father-in-law asks Tatsu to throw the ball, this time he ends up throwing it so hard the father-in-law ends up hitting himself at a tree. Later that day, Miku finds Tatsu messed up outside the room. Tatsu tells her that he has encountered something tough, which turns out to be nothing but a cockroach. He sprays a bug killer on it but runs out of fluid. Soon the cockroach flies and sits on Miku's favorite polycure, which causes her depression. And the next moment, the cockroach is sitting on Tatsu's chest. Tatsu asks Miku to kill the cockroach while it is sitting on his chest, but Miku mistakenly hits his head and the cockroach then becomes their cat's dinner. Tatsu gets a job at a cafe to earn some money to buy a gift for Miku, but some tough customers show up and notice Tatsu to be the new guy. They decide to boss him around, but his Yakuza vibe and figure of speech don't let them have a chance on him. Instead, his service makes them satisfied when he offers them a parfait. His Yakuza demeanor and service makes them feel like they're in the presence of a powerful figure, and they decide not to push their luck. Tatsu uses the money earned from the cafe to throw a huge feast for Miku, who's been so tired from the overtime work. He tells Miku that the feast consists of dishes that will give her a boost. Miku enjoys the food and ends up eating too much. However, she still feels tired, which leads Tatsu to create a lemonade drink for her out of citric acid, lemon, and honey. He then goes ahead and sets up a head massage device on Miku's head while placing a massage mat under her feet and a bubble sheet to pop in her hand. Miku thinks that it is a lot and feels bothered. She sets herself free from all the things Tatsu had said on her and feels very relaxed. Tatsu then applies the head massage device to his head and learns that the wires for the head massage device wasn't plugged in. Later, Tatsu goes shopping and finds a woman named Hibari, who used to be the boss of another gang. She recognizes Tatsu as the Immortal Dragon, and they both question the aprons on each other. As Tatsu is shopping for a few things, he notices Hibari making mistakes and then corrects them for her. However, Hibari thinks that Tatsu is meddling in her job, but he tells her that a certain item is misplaced. This causes Hibari and her men to correct the mistake instantly, After that, Tatsu notices a mistake on his bill made by Hibari and asks her to correct it. Her men start to threaten Tatsu and think he is going to be arrogant towards her, but Hibari asks them to stick to the rules and return the change to Tatsu. Masa goes to Tatsu's place and finds Miku preparing a birthday party for Tatsu. He notices that Miku doesn't know her way around the kitchen and decides to help her make the cake for Tatsu. However, he is not that good himself and both create a huge mess for Tatsu and wish him with their sobbed faces when he returns. Tatsu tells him not to worry and clears up everything while decorating the house and making a cake for himself in the process. He then appears with the cake and receives presents from Masa and Miku, which are a gangster necklace and gangster shades from both of them, respectively. However, both think that Tatsu looks terrible to them. Next morning, Tatsu meets with his Yakuza boss and takes out tons of dog hair from his clothes. Tatsu tells his boss that he is now a house husband and gives him fabric for his dog. After the comedic photo shoot, the boss wants to talk to Tatsu as the Immortal Dragon, but suddenly the chairperson lady and the landlord lady show up with their dogs. The lady chairperson notices that the boss's dog is underweight. Tatsu, being the problem solver, crafts food that the boss's dog eats in no time. Afterward, when the boss watches Tatsu get along with the ladies and their dogs so well, he leaves him saying this is where he belongs now, and doesn't tell him that he came to pick him up to work for a higher organization. And so is the exemplary daily life of an ex-Yakuza. Now, a successful house husband continues.